Alrighty, we is on.
Alrighty. Alrighty, y'all. Peaceful greetings to you all. Namaste, namaste, namaste. Islam, Islam, Islam. I am Brother Hasan Ghaziel Bey here in Morocco at Northwest of Maxim. How are you? Welcome to our Astro Civic Sunday number 69. And we're here going over our Holy Koran Devotional Countdown. We're here at chapter 5. And you guys know I'm here with our magnificent and beloved brother in whom we're well pleased, Brother Sean Mel. And, you know, I just, we was just kind of having a brief discussion just now. Brother Sean asked me a question, bro, and can you ask your question to the people? Because I'll share my thoughts. I'll be brief about it though before we get into
The
this.
one I just asked you.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. I was asking about what you think about the currency system.
yeah. You like? Do you think we'll go back to coins?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. Yeah, I was like, do you think we would go back to like gold and silver coins or like something else? And I was just asking your thoughts on that.
Yeah, and my reply to Brother Sean is, and to for everyone to hear is, I think even though we've read that all of this is based on the zodiac, the reason you have the dollar system is based on the, you know, universal law of nature as shown in the 12 signs of the zodiac, which comes from us, which comes from Moors. However, what I'm also recognizing is that it is a middleman, this currency system. Things are already built, houses are already built, land conveyances are already manufactured, clothes have already been tailored. And now, instead of having access, everyone on the planet having access is needed. There's this faith-based currency system that's middlemaning the access between the people and the actual material. And I know that some people probably say, well, people would be greedy. They would just be taking any and everything. They would be wasteful. However, the reason why that would be in these days and times is because there has been a limitation system that's called a faith-based currency system. In order for the currency system to work, ones have to put their faith in it. And so what is happening even now, like my beloved Mother Mistress Consort, shout out to her, right? She has sent a post today. I'm getting myself together. I'm using the bathroom, right? And she sends I take my iPad with me because I'm just, doing my work too at the same time. And when she sent it to me, I looked at it immediately, and it was about a post on Facebook, literally about, I think it was Facebook, it might have been Instagram. How there's so-called government assistant debit cards for immigrants, that the amount that they're receiving for food assistance is 30 to 40% more than what is the budget for New York to give for food assistance to people who are here already. So since there are new people coming from different places, I know in the colorable mindset out there where people have this color mindset and they want to say, well, they were saying Americans here. So, however, I know because I study well, American is those various copper tone people founded by early European settlers. Even though we also know that pale skin isn't the European. So when it comes to language and when I speak, I'm really immediately cutting through and quickly cutting through a lot of the social engineering, dogma, belief system, connotation language that is used to, do a massive hypnosis. And so I'm looking at it like, okay, well, I guess I see what's happening even more, because by there being something like a faith-based currency system, people from other places where they're looking like, oh, there's a better opportunity here at the North Gate to live and thrive. Now there's all these so-called immigrants, right, from other parts of Earth now coming to this particular portion pertaining to Earth, now allegedly or assumed to get this Federal Reserve assistance, which then will make certain people think, and because, shout out to Malika, I got into a brief discussion with Malika yesterday off of something inspired by one of our lawful living brothers, Just Joe, right? And to see how many foreclosures are listed as opposed to REO, which is real estate owned, bank owned properties, which none of it should be happening because none of this stuff is within their, business operations. This isn't county stuff. This isn't bank stuff. However, there's a war that's going on, and the war that is happening with the banks and lawyers working together. Bankers and lawyers may not be all people that are working for banks, intention to think that they're a part of a war because they think they're just being grown and doing their job to take care of their family. However, those of us that actually read and analyze what's taking place, and I'm not saying it's all attorneys either. However, there are those that are practicing foreclosure and stuff with legislation and doing their best to make it so that the banks and the attorneys doing foreclosures are inconveniencing the people who already, they're in their homes already, right? However, there's this mortgaging system that really only is supposed to take place when one already has some property that they want to fancily, like in a fancy way, mortgage it, right? Well, leasing it, right? Or mortgage it. However, that means that one is actually being someone who's interacting in sharecropping by having tenants, farmhands, to come and help to raise, some food, some crop for a specific outcome. That's the only purpose of a mortgage when you're talking about farmers and ranchers. However, what we have happening is a faith-based currency system who works on having people pledge their life to some things. And in that pledging their life, they are stuck in what they think is living a life and being grown when it is actually indentured servitude and bureaucratized slavery. However, since most people just want to go along to get along and have material, what I'm saying now would be something that's unnecessary to converse about. Oh man, just get a job. Just do that, man. It would be different if you had some of this, Federal Reserve systems, units in your pocket or in your CashApp and stuff like that. And it's like, let's really think about it. Wouldn't one just would like to have access at any time? Wouldn't you just like to have access to resources at any time? That can happen. However, the thing that's been replaced, with one's access to resources freely is a faith-based currency system. How many land conveyances, what people out there have been indoctrinated under the mass hypnosis called cars, when cars are actually something that's on the track, a part of a train, railroad system, that's a car. However, how many land conveyances are manufactured daily? How many are demolished daily? How many homes could actually just be renovated, right? Repaired, right? However, what's actually happening is there is a faith-based currency system that is there to create a war. Who's the war between? Bankers and attorneys and those that aren't bankers and attorneys. So my mindset of going back to coin or anything like that, I really think the faith-based currency system is the reason why there's so much suffering on the planet and poverty. It's so many houses out there under foreclosure. I'm just looking at stuff with Malika yesterday. I'm like, when we when we set the filter on a particular website for just bank owned so-called real estate, the REO, right? The REOs, which just means real estate owned or whatever, which is just bank owned also. so to speak, which really is illegal and unlawful. And we know what to look up to prove that, right? However, there are people out here doing practices to put themselves in the position for self-enrichment, which is against the law also. So when we type in the bank-owned stuff, the bank-owned stuff could be anywhere from 1/4 to maybe 1/10 of how many foreclosures are there. For example, say in one area we looked up real estate owned, it was like 250 real estate owned, blah, 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 blah. So we filtered it and just looked at the foreclosures of like 819.
Goodness.
Which to me, it has me thinking, it's so many people out here that have mortgages do not even know the basis of why one should actually have a mortgage, which means they have agreed to something that deals with foreign trade and commerce, but they're under the mindset that they're living and taking care of their family and providing a shelter, when actually they have put themselves in a system that if they don't keep up with the demands of that particular system, which is at its inception. Mm-hmm. At its inception. Not fair to the ones that are not in the mindset of having full disclosure about what that mortgage-based system actually is, what its foundation is. So that's why so many people are homeless, because you have banks, servicers, which is the mortgage companies, and the attorneys, all working together against those that have not been given full disclosure about the mortgage system. So this is why the people really need to, the reason you need to know, what is the articles of incorporation of any legal entity, business, company, whatever they are, whomever they are. The articles of incorporation, what is their constitution and bylaws, and then see what is that. That way you'll know the scope of how they're supposed to be, doing their business. Because 9 times out of 10, you're going to find people who are doing ultra virus, which some people say ultra virus activities, which means they're going above and beyond, the authority that they actually have to do what they're supposed to be doing. They're going above and beyond their authority. That means they don't have the authority to do the things that they're doing. And then they'll say things like, oh, well, these people think, and they have an ideology where they don't have to follow the laws. Or these people think and have an ideology where they think they're above the law. Or these people think that they don't have to follow the rules and laws of the US and things of that nature. When really, what most people like myself do, we put things into perspective, and then we ask if people are conscious pertaining to what is actually being said in the scope, applicability, legislative intent, and definitions pertaining to those statutes that they're utilizing to make people homeless. The statutes that they're utilizing to do foreclosure processing. Do they even comprehend that they're doing it outside of how it was supposed to have been done ab initio? In other words, from its inception. These things aren't being spoken about, and when they are being spoken about and brought up, what looks like what happens for the most part is most people are railroaded, or what the attorneys will do, they will keep putting in motions and continuances and keep putting in motions and continuances, hoping that you give up. Putting in motions and continuances, hoping that not only do you give up, but you run out of finances in order so that you won't be able to fight them in the court system. That's what's happening. That doesn't mean that what we're speaking about, the information that we even say to read, how to jurisprudently exercise your mind pertaining to what's being utilized. There are more people that are going along to get along, not knowing what statutes are being used against them, which means they're not reading the objective of how those statutes are to be enforced. So they're just in a mindset of docility, being docile, and allowing themselves to have to deal with the outcome of ultra virus actions. So that's my response to Brother Sean asking, like, do you think we're going to go back to coin? It would be cool, but I really think it's an inconvenience. I really think it's an inconvenience. I think the faith-based currency system, like when we read in CM Bay's work, in conclusion about the money, the dollar system being based on the universal, laws as shown in the 12 signs of the zodiac, is because people are out of order. So then you like, oh, well, if we stop the faith-based currency system, then there's just going to be people being greedy, just taking things. That's because there has been a system that created that type of psychological monster. Like, okay, for example, I'll give an example of how one place does one thing and another place doesn't. Now, as ghetto as we know France can be, right? Because children may be sipping red wine if their parents give them a little bit at like 4 years old, and there isn't this, oh, you got to be 18 to drink limitation. At one point in time, I did a study and I realized that there was way less, DUI, DWI type of incidents taking place near France and in other places on what is termed the European continent. Whereas here, where there's a limitation on when one can drink, and really it's not even 18, it's 21 here, right? So they don't have that there for 18 or 21. It's like they're introduced to it. So since they're introduced to it so young, they don't have this temptation to get it against what something has been put out there that's only for agents, governmental organizations, and their employees. That's all that you can drink till you're 21 thing is all about. It has nothing to do with the actual laws of nature. It has nothing to do with that. I'm not advocating that people need to drink. I don't drink. I don't advocate for it at all. However, what I'm saying is, by there being a limitation here as opposed to no limitation near France, where the limitations are, where the restrictions are, you usually have more negative outcomes.
Yeah.
That's what I've noticed in a study that I did a few years back. Just on my own, I was just like, it's funny. I read something and saw something about women near France give their children red wine at 4 years old or whatever, so that they don't really have this temptation to drink. It's normal to them, right? And then, of course, these people are raising their children to be a certain way, act a certain way, or whatever. They're raising them a certain way, right? Whereas here, it's like, you got to look over your shoulder. If you're underage, you got to see if somebody go to the liquor store for you if you're under 21 and see if they're cool enough to get, something for you. So now there's this whole spirit that's being created in one's psyche that has an outcome that usually yields something, not so favorable. And that's because there is this limitation. And so having a limitation like that to drink at 21 here on this part of Earth has the same effects of a faith-based currency system, because it's like you can't get this house or this land conveyance or this clothing or this food unless you attain this kind of means to do so. To obtain the alcohol, you have to be at least the means of being 21 here. But to attain the food, clothing, shelter, and means to travel from point A to point B, or means to convey, forgive me, from point A to point B, it's like you have to attain to this level of whatever medium of exchange within the faith-based currency system. So I think, yeah, if they still kept things going, building things, all these things, just know that people should be able to freely access whatever it is that they need. I'm not saying, in a fully communistic mindset of, well, everybody just gets this kind of ration of food, this kind of house, this kind of land conveyance, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, people have their choices. People who just don't eat animals or animal byproducts should be freely able to go and access whatever produce they need, whatever fruits and vegetables they need, whatever grain they need if they choose to have grain. And the people that are the meat eaters, go and get your chicken and stuff, and the little bit of vegetables you actually eat. I really think there would be no greed, but it would probably have to take about 2 or 3 generations, if not 4 generations, to weed out the greed that infects the people on a massive scale due to faith-based currency systems limiting access. Questions, comments, and/or suggestions before we get into chapter 5? I see 10 of you guys in the chat. Mother Sahara says, peaceful greetings to everyone. Peaceful greetings, Mother Sahara. Brother Derek Blash Bay says, Islam, everyone. Islam, Brother Derek. And Brother Maurice Hall Bay says, peace and love to everyone. Peace and love to you also, Brother Maurice. So you can leave your questions, comments, and/or suggestions, there based on what I said. But yeah, we're really, like I said, we do a lot of studying. We're not just resting on our laurels here. And when I think, I don't just think about me and my immediate loved ones. I'm really thinking globally. I'm thinking universally. And I'm just saying there would be a lot of issues not taking place on this planet if it wasn't for the limitations created by faith-based currency systems, because people are out of order pertaining to their zodiac constitution and being in harmony with the universal laws of nature as shown in the 12 signs of the zodiac, namely the science pertaining to astrology. So we're going to do our invocation in. I am going to actually do our invocation in here. We're here at the Moorish Holy Temple of Science Administrative Functions, pages 48 and 49. Handsomely standing due guard in his Moorish Arif Fez and Abba is Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And we are reading here, right? Just below Prophet Noble Drew Ali, founder, right? Our invocation in is termed the Moorish American Prayer. And you guys can extend all 5 appendages on the left hand, just the index and middle on the right. We're going to stand with our feet on a 45-degree angle like Prophet Noble Drew Ali's feet there as we face east. For those that are participating, you can repeat after me either aloud or in your hearts. Islam.
Islam.
Islam. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Truth.
Peace.
Peace.
Freedom.
Freedom.
And justice.
And justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide.
My God.
And my salvation.
And my salvation.
By night.
By night.
And by day.
And by day.
Through his holy prophet.
Through his holy prophet.
Noble Drew Ali.
Noble Drew Ali.
Ameen. All right. First letter to be read in every meeting will be read by our beloved brother, Sean Ali Mel, and we're here at the Moorish Holy Temple of Science Administrative Functions, pages 84 and 85, and I yield the floor to Brother Sean Ali Mel, Islam.
Islam. The following is a letter written by Prophet Noble Drew Ali on the 18th day of January, 1928, Anno Domini. He commanded that it be read before every meeting. All right. Administrative functions, Moor Science Temple of America, Home Office, 3603 Indiana Avenue. Noble Drew Ali, founder, Chicago, Illinois, January 18th, 1929. To be proclaimed in every meeting. Dear brother, Islam, I am glad to know that I have few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy, quote unquote, about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim it was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as an American citizen, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they themselves may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that contribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that pay their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it bad. Never before have I needed finance as badly as I do at present, that I may shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility, quote unquote. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without me, the prophet, being the head. It has been proven by my work in which I have performed in the last few months, because I was at the governor's inauguration to represent the Moorish Divine and National Movement, and I will be at the inauguration of President Hoover for the same cause. Noble Drew Ali.
Indeed. We're here Moorish in the Moorish literature, excerpts from the Moorish Guide newspaper on page 12, handsomely standing due guard in this Moorish Sharif's Fez and the Ba is Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And on page 13, divine warning by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. The Prophet warns all Muslim governors ordered to read proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways by order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. The question in the chat that I see Brother Derek Blash Bey has asked, he says, is the banking system really shutting down? If the people stop putting their faith in it, Brother Derek, I think it can. But it would have to be on a it would have to be on a massive scale. That's why, the other day, I think maybe about a strong ago, right? Or so. Well, some people say a week, we encourage saying a strong, right? Just for, mind strengthening purposes. Looking at Fight Club, and it's funny, people say Fight Club. However, I recall Fight Club actually, even before I looked at it again, I was like, Fight Club was about destroying the credit system. That was the whole purpose of Fight Club. To strategically destroy the credit system. That's what it was about. You guys need to go back and really look at Fight Club. Look past the Tyler Durden being, you know, Ed Norton's character's alter ego, played by, you know, Brad Pitt, and then the little, you know, Wednesday Tuesday looking chick that, you know, he's banging in this house where they're making soaps and stuff. Look past all of that. The whole purpose of Fight Club was to destroy the credit system.
I haven't seen that before, bro.
Yeah, look at Fight Club. Really look at it. If you can look past the fact that they're trying to show you clues that Brad Pitt, who plays Tyler Durden, is just the alter ego of Ed Norton's character. It's just names just escaping me right now. And then, you know, the girl he's with or whatever, and then having Fight Club or whatever, and all these other. It was all for the purpose of destroying the credit system, but to keep themselves afloat and to keep themselves being able to eat, even though they may have squatted in the house. They even mentioned that too. They said, you know, you got, once you see it and you really know what it is, and you'll be like, okay, I see what they're doing. And then they were stealing the fat from liposuction waste, like liposuction companies stealing the fat from human beings, who the waste product from that liposuction was the fat from these beings. And they were making soaps out of it and selling them to like high class retailers. And they was like, this is the best soap ever. So what they was doing was taking the fat from people getting liposuction and selling it back to them in the form of soap as a means to be able to support themselves in some way, shape, or form, I guess, to get other materials and things of that nature to be able to practice these tactical plans of destroying the credit system slowly but surely. That's the whole purpose of Fight Club. So it would have to not necessarily, I'm not saying, Brother Derek, that people we have to start a Fight Club. I'm saying that the mindset would have to be one that no longer has faith in the faith-based currency system. Now, if people exercise their faith in the form of Fight Club, I'm not condoning that nor promoting that. However, that's just one manifestation of people's exercise pertaining to their faith, or withdrawing their faith from it. They're further, you know, facilitating withdrawing their faith from it by having, I guess, a Fight Club to do so. But other than that, I'm just ultimately saying, I'm not, you know, things would have to stop because there's an uncivilized spirit on the planet, period. And the uncivilized conditions are being promoted by bankers, attorneys, and the system in which they're utilizing it to foreclose on many things and many people. So all of that is stuff that's only supposed to be happening this much, with only the few employees or agents that are working within that realm, but it's affecting everyone on the entire planet. So it's a virus. The banking system, the attorneys that are supporting it, and the means upon which they act above and beyond their authority, which is ultra virus in Latin. Some people will say ultra virus actions, which is interesting because virus, VIRUS, is what I was saying, you know, saying that the what the bankers and attorneys are doing, that's the issue, which is consuming the host that is the planet and the people. And so that is a war that a lot of people are being docile to. And then you have these bankers and attorneys using force to remove people based on these banking practices, when no one's shelter, no one's home, so to speak, no shelter, right? Your structure on the land for ye and your loved ones, it's not a part of banking business. It should have never gotten there. However, since the people are not really looking into the statutes being used against them, the bankers and the lawyers are perverting the legislative intent the scope, applicability, and definitions pertaining to those statutes to rob the people on the planet at large. And this is why the people need to study so that they can protect themselves. Because eventually it's going to, all this war on paper, it may actually lead to some type of fight club. It may lead to people getting their brains blown out. Somebody knock on their door and it's an attorney like on 99 Homes with Police. It might be people already ready for that. They'll have cameras looking up the street on both directions of their homes. Like, hey man, these people about to pull up, and already they just gonna have tools drawn. Just gonna start sniping people from different windows. That's what's gonna happen. I'm telling you, I can see it. It's already actually happening. I remember I said a couple of years ago, I'm like, people are gonna start shooting police in the head. And it started happening. I remember I sent a video last year. I was like, told you. I already know it's gonna happen. It's gonna keep happening. Not because I say so or I'm promoting it or telling people to go. That's not what I'm doing. I can see. And I can see ahead a lot. A whole lot. So Mother Janelle says, peaceful greetings. JLV, and Robert says, a plague. Yes, it is. Yeah, more than a virus. It's a plague. And Mother Sahar says, woe unto ye lawyers. Absolutely. What's that? Luke chapter 11, verses 46 through 52. Woe unto ye lawyers, something like that.
Let me see. I was just reading that earlier. Yep.
Yeah.
11:37 through 54.
Okay. 11.
Well, that's like the Pharisees. Yeah, then there's Luke 11:51 to 53.
Yeah, I think it's 46 through 52 then, when it starts with the woe unto ye lawyers, when it really is going into it. But yeah, definitely Luke chapter 11, verses 46 through 52, if I'm remembering that correctly. Mother Sahar says cause and effect. Indeed. So guys, let's get into chapter 5. Workshop pertaining to the mind is how I usually remember chapter 5 in the Cycle 7 Holy Quran for the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, adopting as its corporate name Moorish Science Temple of America. Right. And as you guys can see, I'm very complete in my language and I speak purposefully the way that I do because I don't like getting into that colloquially speaking, man, you know what I mean, way of speech. Because I think that that's the issue that we're having on this planet collectively by not being direct and in harmony, denotatively speaking. So as usual, Brother Sean will be doing the reading and I'll be on my, yeah, I'm serious, member, kind of badly, right? So let's enjoy ourselves, right? As Brother Sean goes in on beginning chapter 5, you guys, as we said last Sunday, you're going to be seeing in these beginning chapters more of us amplifying what certain things actually denote within the Cycle 7 Holy Quran. So that you will begin maybe doing and looking for these things yourself when you're looking into the Holy Quran and the Bible, always getting the amplification. However, we're giving the metaphysical amplifications. All righty, on purpose. And so with that being said, Brother Terrell Bey said, Castle Doctrine.
For real.
That's what I was saying. It's going to be people probably, they can hit a button and it's going to be little robot arms coming out with lasers or something shooting at these people. Like, I'm trying to tell you, man.
I'm sending out killer rats.
Tell you. What'd you say?
Send out the killer rats.
Bruh, I'm trying. It's not gonna be a good look in a couple of years, bro. I'm trying to tell y'all people, man. What's also sad too, another thing with these so-called immigrants or people from other parts of Earth, that's the type of people they're gonna want to put in your prison systems as correctional officers and police officers and sheriffs. And there's going to be such a language barrier and a cultural barrier that all these people are going to want to do is just do their Nazi Gestapo practices. And that's because the people that could have been assisted and made sure that they did what they needed to do to study or put certain things in order, they didn't do it. So it's almost like Is it the exhuming of a nation that's happening, or is it a execution of a nation that's happening? Because the exhume means to dig up out the grave as if it's already dead, right? Or is it well alive and there's just a continuation of seeking to keep it down, to try to eradicate it, which means pull it up from its roots as if it was never there. I yield the floor, Brother Sean. Islam.
Islam. All right. Chapter 5. After the feast, the homeward journey, the missing Jesus, the search for him. His parents find him in the temple. He goes with them to Nazareth, symbolic meaning of carpenter's tools. The great feast of the Pasch was ended, and the Nazarenes were journeying toward their homes.
Look at that. All righty. So the great appropriation, consuming and comprehending divine potentialities pertaining to the making of making the divine practical. Look at that. Man. That right there, enough is just like, how do you take these metaphysics and make it practical? Like, yeah, take the divine and make it practical. Once that came to an end, those that observe and guard as a covenant, the common place, right, were journeying toward their homes. You know, you guys can screenshot accordingly if you need to. I yield, brother. Islam.
Okay. And they were in Samaria. And Mary said, "Where's my son?" No one had seen the boy. It makes me think
Indeed.
of what is that, God of War? He's like, boy.
Islam, I yield.
All right. And Joseph, or wisdom, sought among their kindred who were on their way to Galilee, but they had seen him not.
So they were traveling in a consciousness state in which truth and error are strangely mixed. Where truth and error are mixed while they're on their way to life energy acting in accordance with substance. This is what's happening on the inside of you guys. When you're reading the Quran and the Bible, these are just anthropomorphisms and personifications pertaining to your own consciousness tied to your endocrine system as you are developing here on the earth plane Asha, here at Midgard. Period. That's it. That's all. This is what should have been told to you guys earlier so that you would have been able to do this. And it should have been perpetuated for centuries. However, what's been happening is it's only been held in secret societies. However, Prophet Noble Drew promised that he's removed and removing the covers from all secret societies. And there will be new Moors that will be coming in with their eyes wide open to push old Moors to the back to carry out the law. For only due respect, we're prophecy fulfilled and fulfilling. Period. I yield.
Then Joseph, Mary, and a son of Zebedee, returned and sought through all Jerusalem, but they could find him not.
The wisdom and love and the son, you know, when you look at son in the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary by Charles Fillmore, a son is high intellectually perceived truth to be spiritually realized fully, which is the same as John, because the son of Zebedee is John. Right? So the high intellectually perceived truth to be spiritually realized fully, which is technically John, you know, pertaining to the divine gift, the dowry within. All this is to be reflected within. The Bible, the Quran, never been outward. The only times they are outward when you're being able to comprehend the metaphysics and then take that which is divine from the abstract within and be practical with it on the outside. even pertaining to the science pertaining to astrology. How you, bro? Islam.
Islam. And Mary, or loved, asked the guards of the Nazarenes had they seen Jesus, a little boy about 12 years old.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, bro.
The guards replied, yes, he is in the temple now giving game to the doctors of the law. Oh, my bad. He is in the temple now disputing with the doctors of the law.
And law in metaphysics is the orderly working out of the principle pertaining to being, or the divine ideals into expression and manifestation throughout creation. I yield the floor, beloved brother Islam.
And they went in and found him as the guards had said.
Mm-hmm.
And Mary said, why, Jesus, why do you treat your parents thus? Lo, we have sought 2 days for you. We fear that some great harm had overtaken you.
Mm-hmm. It's funny, in 2 days, the moon moves about a sign. You know, that's interesting. You know, well, yeah, about on average 13 degrees. We know, as we've been observing recently, the moon's been going through Aquarius and like doing 15 degrees in a day. That's a little quicker than the, maybe 13 and a quarter that we might look for the moon to do in a day. But yeah, that's interesting. The 2 days is like we basically went through a zodiac sign. Go ahead. I yield, bro. Islam.
We have sought 2 days and a void, of course. But and Jesus said, do you not know I must be about my father's work, mama? But he went round and pressed the hand of every doctor of the law and said, I trust that we meet again.
Look at that, man. Press the hand of every doctor of the law. They doctoring it. Ooh, to the wee. That sound like someone's like, yo, why y'all fucking around fucking the law? Like that's kind of how I imagine seeing it. However, if we were to put it in anthropomorphism, however, to look at it in the metaphysics of whatever, it's like the sun is transiting through the zodiac and may just be in maybe a grand conjunction in council with all those planets that rule over the different signs. It sounds like one heck of a Kazemi and or combustion, if not just under beams. For those that are astrologically sound in what I just said. Mother Sahar says, it's interesting he was 12 years old. Could it be referencing the 12 signs of the zodiac? Absolutement. Absolutement. That's why I said, man, take these metaphysics and then begin to really see. Because like we said, all this is dealing with astromasonics and astromasonics alone. Period. All righty. I yield the floor, bro. Islam.
Indeed. And then he went forth with his parents on the way to Nazareth. And when they reached their home, he wrought with Joseph as a carpenter.
Look at that. Went from disputing with the doctors of the law to going to be a carpenter. But where's this carpentry taking place? Where is he being a carpenter taking place? I yield, bro.
Indeed. One day, as he was bringing forth the tools for work, he said, these tools remind me of the ones we handle in the workshop of the mind, where things are made of thoughts.
Go ahead, bro.
And where we build up character.
Wow. I feel things about to get real Masonic with all these underlined words here. Real Astro-Masonic.
Real non-butt buddy Othy.
Right, right. You ain't got to be like, I swear oath of death, and you have a bleeding rectum of brotherhood from brotherhood in the lodge and shit. Like, fuck out of here, man. For real. I yield, bro.
We use the square to measure all our lines, to straighten out the crooked places of the way, and make the corners of our conduct square.
Wow. You want to talk about metaphysics? Bruh, go ahead, continue.
Mhm. We use the compass to draw circles around our passions and desires to keep them in the bounds of righteousness.
Mm-hmm.
We use the axe to cut away the knotty, useless, and ungainly parts and make the character symmetrical.
Look at that. That's that cutting away we was talking about the other day, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Mother Sahara brought up the axe. All right, go ahead. I yield.
We use the hammer to drive home the truth and pound it in until it is a part of every part.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I yield,
We
bro. This is perfect. Yeah, that's all the ad libs I got for this so far.
mhm. We use the plane to smooth the rough, uneven surfaces of joint and block, and board that to go to build the temple for the truth.
So,
The
look at
chisel,
that.
the chisel
Mm-hmm.
line, the plummet, and the saw all have their uses in the workshop of the mind.
It's interesting. You don't even really go into it as much as he went in detail on the square, compass, axe, hammer, and plane. However, I yield.
Indeed. And then this ladder with its trinity of steps, faith, hope, and love. On it, we climb up to the dome of purity and life.
Look at that. Look at that. Almost reminds me of the ladder of belief, faith, fruition. I
Mm-hmm.
yield, bro. Islam.
Mm-hmm. And on the 12 step ladder, we ascend until we reach the pinnacle of that which life is spent to build the temple of perfected man.
Look at that. Muy, muy interesante. Brother Derek Glash Bay says, in the mind, in response to where I was like, where is this happening? Right. So with that being said, guys, I trust that even with this, looking here, guys, you can see that all we're doing is astromasonics to build our character based on the metaphysics, which is the science pertaining to being, the science pertaining to ultimate reality. By looking at that which is really connected to our conscious, that which is pertaining to our consciousness, connected to our endocrine system, as we grow here on this earth plane, this phi cycle, physical phi cycle plane. All right. Mother Zahar says, love that chapter, as she exclaims it with an exclamation point. Indeed. Right. And I trust this will give people some insight, because I know it's been asked before, not just recently in conversations, but others is like, how do you have in your mind what you have in your mind? And I remember when Mother Rashida Bey had said, do you think, she's like, Hasan, you think you learned everything in that 34-year-old body? This was back in like 2018. Right before I turned 35. She's like, you think you learned everything in that 34, 35-year-old body? And I was just like, she was basically saying like in this lifetime, because she was basically alluding to like, her and a couple other elders was just alluding to how many times I've been here, and the only thing I can really think about most of the time is how I see everything needs to be for everyone on the planet. And I don't really get into as much as I'm this being from this time before, even though masterminds trace themselves through time. I don't even think it would be important to even announce and say who you know, if I ever came to certain other thoughts in my head and be like, oh, well, I'm so and so and so and so from this time, reincarnated. I don't think that would be even necessary to put out there. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just Brother Hasan. That's it. You know, and however I may trace myself, you know, through time from the past, I trust that what I've brought from the past to this lifetime now, it's helpful to myself, my loved ones, and those of us globally that have eyes to see and ears to hear. Yes, I would love for everyone to have eyes to see and ears to hear. However, not everyone has come from a previous lifetime with nothing negative as far as karma. And I'm grateful and thankful as far as myself, my beloved mother, Mistress Consort, and our little ones. We have no negative karma from previous lifetimes after analyzing, you know, things with certain tools. And it's like, okay, this is good, really good to see, right? So any questions, comments, and or suggestions going once? Stop the screen share here. Thank you all for joining us for our AstroCivics Sunday, number 69 for the Holy Koran Devotional Countdown for Chapter 5. I'd like to thank you all. Questions, comments, and or suggestions go on Twizzeyes. I'd like you all to schedule your Mirror Astro Literacy session with Brother Hasan Ghaziel Bey. Get your get your Mental Magician report with Brother Sean L. Join TUPAC since we're still allowing the 2-1 special, but you got to come with, you know, a loved one or a buddy of yours. You got to, you know, it's got to be 2 of you guys, right? We're Noah's Arking it over here in terms of TUPAC, right? It could be, you know, a mother and a daughter. It could be a father and a son. It can be, you know, a couple, husband and wife. You know, you guys can do that, or maybe it's for your little ones, right? You have, you know, teenagers that are only a year or 2 apart, but you guys want them to learn the astrology. You transact for both of them to attend TUPAC. That can happen, you know. However you guys want to do it. You can be, you know, in your 50s or 60s and you and a loved one want to come along and learn. It doesn't matter. Just the 2 of you. And because it's 250 units for a lifetime. However, we're going to let that 250 go for 2 of you beings. It'll be 125 a piece, but you have to come as pairs. All right. Because we need to go over you guys' astrology in brief with you. Mother Zahar says, Brother Derek Blash Bay says, love and respect to ye all. He's exclaiming with multiple exclamation points, as well as Mother Zahar says, sincere gratitude, peace, and love. JLV and Robert says, gratitude and love. Indeed. Any questions, comments, and or suggestions going through his eyes, Brother Sean?
Nah, we'll see y'all tomorrow for the Virgo full moon for Intuition Monday.
Indeed, that is how we're doing it. All right, so guys, this is also where we say to be yourselves and
donate, show some love.
Yeah, indeed, donate for real, guys. Because you know you guys do this freely, as possibly as we can. Thankful to our loved ones that allow us to do what we do because we're not fuck ups in life. We're not sitting here, you know, doing anything harmful or wrong, even if the loved ones that are around us and supportive of us are not Moorish American either. However, they definitely can see and respect what it is that we do to provide what it is that we provide globally. All right. So yes, we look forward to you guys donating to us. And remember, when it comes to the donations, you'll see in the description, once we put it up for this one, you can go to a previous video and look at that description. You'll see the Cash App over which I am admin for, as well as the Cash App over which Brother Sean is admin for. And you can either split your donation between those two or just donate to one and just leave a note. Hey, split this with your bro. right? That's how you can do it. All righty. So with that being said, we're going to do our invocation out. All righty. You're going to extend all 5 appendages on the left hand, just the index and middle on the right, standing on a 45-degree angle as far as your feet are concerned, as we face directional east, which is symbolic to metaphysical east, which denotes within. And you guys that are participating can repeat after Brother Sean, either loud or in your hearts. Islam.
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 Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
The Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Truth.
Peace.
Peace.
Freedom.
Freedom.
And justice.
And justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide.
My guide.
And my salvation.
And my salvation.
By night.
By night.
And by day.
And by day.
Through his holy prophet.
Through his holy prophet.
Noble Drew Ali.
Noble Drew Ali.
Amen.
Amen. All right, guys. Thank you all so much. When you go to get your victuals on, when you go to eat, make sure you're eating what you're enjoying. However, most of all, make sure you speak over it and affirm health for yourself, right? Good health and wealth in perpetuity for yourself. As well as when you all go to rest and recharge, make sure you rest and recharge well. I'm going to go and hit this shape up. Got this little personal barbering. I'm about to gang for myself real quick, looking all salt and peppery as I do when I let it grow, I guess. And now it's time to go and hit it up, right? So guys, we love you all. On behalf of 7HealStar, I'm Brother Hasan Ghaziel Bey. This is our beloved brother whom we're well pleased, Brother Sean L. On behalf of the exalted Cyclops, Brother Corey Bey, the South, Brother Terrell Tamari Bey, and Brother Arvin Wabba Bey, is where we say to ye all, namaste, 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 Islam, 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 y'all. Peace out.